Okay, as you can see, I've already completed two other elements, the jacket and the boots. I use the same techniques of making selections using the same old magnetic lasso tool, and just as you can see, use adjustment layers, the solid color adjustment layers. I have left with two more parts now, which is the wall background and the flooring. But we're gonna have a little bit of a problem selecting these parts because they aren't very clear from other objects. What I mean is when you look inside the door or the head or any other elements that we've already selected, they're pretty much isolated from the background or other elements. But the two more objects we're going to select aren't like that. For example, if I make a selection of the floor, we have a bit of the door and quite a lot apart from the boots actually, and we need to change a bit of a technique in making selections. And if you say we're going to hold down the Alt key and make a selection like that, well, that's not really bad, but you might notice that it might be really hard to make perfect selection out of it. So that's probably not very good technique to move on. And the worst thing is the wall would be really hard to make a selection like that. So we need to change a bit of a technique here. Okay, so well, let's take a look at the layers palette for an instance, and we just take a look at these if you haven't noticed them. Alright, every time we've created an adjustment layer with the selection intact, a layer mask is created. These little black and white elements are the layer mask. And if you look inside carefully, you can say these are boots, this is a jacket, this is a hat, and this looks like a door. This is a hat, this is a jacket, and these are boots, and this is a jacket, and I feel like a kindergarten teacher. Apart from that, it doesn't. What I mean is, it doesn't really need a genius to figure out what these elements they have. Basically, it holds the selection information in the layer mask itself, and you can recall the selection information. For example, if you're using Mac, you can hold down the Apple key and click on layer mask. Will just create or recall the selection which you had earlier. Same thing for PC. If you're using PC user, you hold down the Control key and click on it. And you can see that if I hold down the Apple key on Mac and click on the jacket layer mask, it just recalls the layer mask of the jacket. I can do the same for the head or for the door. Okay, so what I can also do is I can also combine these shortcuts. For example, if I hold down the Apple key together with the shift while clicking on the layer mask, you can see that I can add on to the current selection. I can also do the alternative by holding the Alt key and Apple key together. You can see that the cursor changes a little minus icon. For example, if I click on the head layer mask now with the Apple and Alt together, you can see that the hat's been removed from the current selection. If I hold down Apple and Alt together, if I click on the door layer mask, you see that the layer mask of the door has been removed from the current selection. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, first of all, we're going to go to select and deselect everything. And I'll go zoom in a little bit. I'm going to use the marquee tool to select my ground. Okay, and I'm just going to hold down the Alt key and Apple key and I'm going to click on the boots layer. If you're using Windows, it's going to be Alt and Control. Alright, for Mac users, it will be Alt and Apple. So just going to click on that. You can notice that the selection of the boot's been removed from current selection. I'm going to do the same for the door. Alt and Apple, click on the door. You can see that the door has been removed. And actually, I can also hold down a little bit of just Alt alone and just drag around this area to make a perfect selection. And as you can see with the selection now, I'm just going to do the same old thing. Hold down, just click on that adjustment layer icon, choose solid color, and now I can choose any selection or any color I want for my flooring. And I can just basically change it to multiply, and I'm not really quite sure about the color, but well, it doesn't really matter what color you choose. Okay, so well, I'm just going to do the same for the selection of the entire room. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all by dragging like that, or you can also go to select all to select the entire picture, and with Alt and Apple key held down, we're just going to click on every single layer mask one time each, and you can have the perfect selection of the wall. And all you need to do, just select on the solid color again, and just apply whatever color you like for your room. Maybe I'll go for a little bit of blue and choose multiply from the list, and maybe slightly brighter color. Well, it doesn't really matter, like you've already know. Okay, if you want to add on more things like, for instance, gradients and stuff like that, you can also do that. You can also recall the selection of the wall by holding down the Apple key. Click on that, you can have the selection again. Click on the adjustment layer. Of course, you don't have to stick to solid color. You can also play around with other things like gradients. Okay, maybe I'll choose this one, and of course I'm going to use something like multiply. I think that looks pretty alright. I can also apply patterns. Same thing. I'm just going to hold on Apple key, click on it, and you can choose patterns from the list and see what kind of patterns you have. These are the patterns I've already created earlier. You can actually play with the patterns and see which one works perfectly fine. You can just play with the opacity and different modes. They work slightly differently, as you can see there, by changing that. Well, I'm just gonna stop it here, and I hope you understand the concept there, and most importantly, I hope you enjoy the tutorial. And thanks for watching tutorial, and I'm William, and I hope I'll see you again in the next tutorial.